Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go back in regular session.
Motion to go back into regular session.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Keeper to go back into regular session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. And it carries. We had minutes from the October 2nd. Do you have a motion to approve?
I need to make a correction to those minutes, Mr. Chairman. You were not present, and Steve Davis, our administrator, was not present, and Vice Chairman Loper presided over the meeting.
Just the President, Vice Chairman, Forrest Floyd, Roger Burdette, Jamie Deloach, Joe Keeper. So is there a correction to them?
Yes, it had that you were present.
If there's not a correction to the actual material of the minutes, it's attendance. Your name is there as being present or as calling the meeting to order, and it should be Chairman Loper, Vice Chairman Loper. And then it notes that Steve was also in attendance at that meeting, and he was not. So we need to remove Steve's name.
I'm not seeing it on here. What am I missing? Oh, down here.
Is that right down here?
Mine's correct.
Yours is correct?
What I had,
Better than you thought you were.
what I had you and Steve listed.
Was that an old one maybe?
What's the date on the one that you have?
October 2nd.
Maybe there was a different copy.
Might have got revised.
No.
Says the Board of Commissioners, Effingham County met in executive session in 2nd October.
Don't read that out
What's in there? That's good.
loud. Strictly goodbye.
So it shows Steve here. And it says your name here. That you called to order.
It's just.
Oh, right, okay, I got you. That's what I'm saying, okay. So we're amending that it was called to order by Vice Chair,
Loper.
not Loper, okay. And then,
Steve Davis was not present.
Yep, I'm sorry, I got you.
And I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the noted
Those
changes.
are two corrections.
Second.
Okay. So go back in.
Not second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Deloach and second by Mr. Loper, I believe,
Yeah.
to approve with changes. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. And so is any other business?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Kiefer made a motion to adjourn. Second by Mr. Deloach, all in favor, say aye. And you're adjourned.
I'll be cleaning up the last also.
Really asking things.
I'm hungry.
So I need to wait till you correct these, Steph. Wait till you correct this. We're going to call to order the County Board of Commissioners meeting on October 26, 2018. It is 5 o'clock. Ask everyone if you please stand for invocation and remain standing for introduction to our poor Rachel, who's going to read our pledge of allegiance tonight. Father, we again thank you for your participation with us, that you allow us to participate with you in planning and strategizing and working for the good of this community. We pray for your wisdom tonight, for your guidance and direction. It says in Scripture that a man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. And we pray that you would direct our steps tonight as we listen to the business at hand and make those decisions that will encourage and support our fellow citizens of this county. So guide us now, we pray, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Mr. Chairman and board members and audience and staff, tonight we have Mr. Carson Roberts, who is an 11th grader at the Effingham County High School. Carson is involved in a competition track shotgun team, and he is the vice president of member services. He's also a certified team leader. Carson, if you will come forward and lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Floyd is joining us just in this time. Good to have you here this evening. We appreciate your involvement tonight with us employees. Thank you so much.
And congratulations on the new grant.
Yes. As the patrol out in the parking lot looking for you. Everybody's helping you good?
Yeah, everybody's here.
Very good. All right, the first item tonight is consideration of resolution to approve the agenda. We have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Kiefer, to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Excuse me, again, we have an agenda. Next item is consideration to approve the minutes of the October 2nd, 2018 regular commissioners meeting. I was not present, so I'll leave it to you. Is there any corrections or additions? After reading the minutes from anyone?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Loper to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. We want to welcome everyone tonight to this meeting. I appreciate you being here. The documents for our meeting are always located in our clerk's office. I've been posted elsewhere and on our websites as well, so I hope you have a chance to review. If you'd like to participate in any discussions tonight, we just encourage you to take the time to do that, and then maybe limit your comments for 2 or 3 minutes so that anyone who might want to express a comment could do that. So we always appreciate our public's participation. There will be a time at the end that I'll ask if anybody has a comment they'd like to make. If you make a question or something you want to bring to the board, as time permits, we'll allow that, but once we need that for 2 or 3 minutes. Other than that, we want to try to keep it on the agenda, because we've got public hearings tonight, got a pretty heavy agenda. So with that, we'll move to our consent agenda, and it reads as follows: consideration to approve to grant a signage permit to D.N. Gordon to close the roads in Royal Oak subdivision to 3 traffic on October 31st, 2018 for Halloween trick or treat. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd to approve, second by Mr. Kiefer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And consent agenda is approved. We'll move to our old business. Item number 1, the planning board recommended a denying an application by Kim and Company LLC to rezone 48 plus or minus acres out of 1,338.42 acres located on Highway 17 at Logan Road from AR1 to I1 to allow for surface mining maps by number 5353, parcel 3 in the 5th district.
Commissioners, as of this afternoon, we have actually received a request from the applicant that this item be withdrawn.
Okay. So if the item is withdrawn, we don't really need any action, there'll just be no action on it, and it doesn't come back up.
Well, since we didn't do it at agenda approval, if we can take a motion to withdraw it.
Okay. I have a motion to withdraw.
Make a motion to withdraw it off. Second.
Motion, Mr. Lake, to withdraw from the agenda, second by Mr. Burdette. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
And that was first and second with old business.
Just as a question, I thought planning board recommended approval.
Let's double check.
The staff report does reflect that they did recommend an approval for it.
I thought,
So he's still,
Okay, so just as a correct.
but regardless, I just wanted to.
we'll make that correction.
The agenda item. Do we need Ms. Johnson, do we need a motion for item number 2 as well, or is that took care of it?
I believe you amended this motion to include both items, number 1 and 2. Correct, Commissioner?
Yes.
All right, if he's amended, let me make sure I get that documented. Mr. Wilkie amended his motion, you accept his amendment? Mr. Burdette, please. Very good. All in favor, say aye. Okay. So the motion stands amended to include item 1 and 2 of old business. So we'll move to new business. Item number 1, consideration to approve to accept the proposal and award a contract to Parker Engineering LLC for the McCall Blue Jay Road intersection.
Good evening, Fiona Johnson, purchasing agent. The improvements for this intersection have been planned for years, with the county already having ownership of the right-of-way for the project. A request for proposal for engineering services was advertised in the usual places and sent to known vendors. 11 bids were received, the bid tabs are in your packet. Parker Engineering LLC responded in accordance with the RFP and were determined to be the company whose proposal best serves the interests of the county. Parker Engineering's bid price is $65,500. The county attorney has reviewed and approved the contract with Parker Engineering, and as SPLOST funds have been allocated for this project, staff recommend alternative 1. Any questions?
Any questions or discussions from anyone on the board? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve alternative number 1?
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Roper to approve alternative number 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 2, under new business, consideration to approve a resolution to amend the 2017-2018 fiscal budget.
Good evening, Christy Carpenter, Interim Finance Director. You have before you the budget amendments for last fiscal year, which include various amendments such as travel and training, utilities, supplies, commissary accounts, storm-related accounts. We've included all of these matters so they're taken care of before the auditors come for field work.
These budget adjustments are just so that departments will not be over or under according to state law. So we're just moving
Correct.
from line item to line item that doesn't affect the overall expenditures or revenues. Any other questions or discussions for Ms. Christie? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the 2017-2018 fiscal budget?
I motion to approve item number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lathrop, second by Mr. Deloach to approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And that carries. Thank you. Item number 3, consideration to approve a resolution to amend the 2018-2019 fiscal budget.
This is a budget amendment for the current fiscal year. The CRC has issued an amendment to our contract, which is increasing our funding for our congregate and home delivered meals. And as such, we need to make the changes in the budget to reflect those. We recommend alternative 1.
I see we're budgeting a revenue increase to go along with the expenditure increase. Are we going to get more revenues from the entitlement?
We are. They've amended their budget to issue us additional funding.
Very good. Any other questions or discussions? Have a motion for alternative number 1 to
Make a
approve.
motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Keeper to approve alternative number 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. And you've got another one, consideration to approve, this is number 4, an amendment to the CRC contract 2019-08.1 for fiscal year 2019.
Yes, sir. This is the actual contract amendment that the CRC has issued. We just need to approve that so that we can receive that additional funding. The net of that increase is about $42,000.
Very good. Any questions or discussions? You have a motion to approve alternative 1 for the contract.
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Waker to approve alternative number 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. Item number 5, policies, consideration to approve updates to various county policies.
Good evening, Vicki Dunn, Director of HR. Yes, sir, we've started a project in HR just going through all the old policies. We found that the last time the county's personnel policies were updated and approved by the board was in 2005. So we're just kind of going through, the first one that we've come up with are just revisions of policies, just getting them updated with new federal law. What you have before you are the copies of the policies with the changes that have been requested. Policy 2.16 is email, internet, and computer use. The revisions to this policy just includes intranet as part of the computer items to be covered. 4.01 are performance evaluations. What we've done here is updated the evaluation form, and we've been able to add a bonus program for the employees, hourly employees, where if you're rated exceptional on your performance evaluations, you're eligible for a $250 bonus at the time of your evaluation. We tried looking at other things, but we're able to come up with this. If we think this is reasonable, we had the money put in our budget this year in HR to award these bonuses, and we'd like to go ahead and start doing that.
So we're in full compliance now, if we.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 5.04 is your family and medical leave policy. This policy was updated to include the military caregiver leave. What this is it allows 26 weeks for individuals to care for military members that might be going through therapy or treatment. Then 5.09 is your retirement program deferred compensation. Since we did away with the defined benefit plan in December of 2016, we needed to take that language out of the policy, so now our retirement program simply refers to deferred compensation. And then 6.10, vehicle use, care, and maintenance. All this was we created a form to go along with the policy. The policy required that you fill out a form to report an accident, yet there was no form to go along with the policy. Staff recommends alternative 1. Any questions?
Are these each the only items that changed?
Yes, sir.
Sections, nothing else was changed?
No, sir.
So other than just updating our own sales, we wouldn't need to spend as much time in the other areas.
Right.
Is it possible to get a red line item on these particular ones? Like
Absolutely.
this one came out and this one went in, so we can kind of compare?
Yes, sir.
And I'm assuming, speaking of this, these are just, this is what's required other than the performance. That's probably the only one that we're recommending something. The others are required changes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, like the 216, the 504, 509, 16, those are all requirements.
Yes, sir.
We just need to understand, but 401 is what you're recommending. I would like to see a kind of a highlighting what changed or red line or whatever.
In 401 only, Mr. Corbett, or all of them?
I like seeing all of them, just kind
Okay.
of know what the changes were.
Sure.
That's what's different from the past.
I can do that.
Great. Any other questions or discussions?
So we can table this, or?
Yeah, I think several commissioners expressed a desire to read over. That's why I was asking, that red line might help them.
Sure.
And all of us, myself included, locate and understand the policy changes.
Absolutely.
So, I don't see if there's any more questions, discussions. If not, I'm entertaining a motion to table the next meeting, give some more time to review.
Make a motion to table to the next meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Roper, second by Mr. Deloach, to table to the next meeting, give us more time to review. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Thank you for your work on that, Ms. Vivian. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time and work on that. There was a lot of information, so I think we opened it up on Friday, Monday, and Tuesday with our schedule. We just didn't have time to go through it with the fine-tooth. We'd like to.
I'll take care of it.
Took it since 2005. That's the last time. We want to make sure we understand it as well. So thank you. Okay, item number 6. Consideration to approve a resolution to adopt the fiscal year 2018 capital improvement element.
Commissioners, we presented this capital improvement element update to you on September 18th. At that time, you authorized us to go ahead and transmit it to the Department of Community Affairs for their review. They have since completed that review and found that it did adequately address all of the applicable requirements. So staff is now recommending that the board adopt this update as written.
I saw one thing I didn't understand, well, probably a lot of things. I'm going to take it. Did it say the parkway was 120 million? That's what's on this, am I reading something wrong there? 120 million.
That's probably right.
But the last thing we heard was 50-something million, and state's giving us 44 million. So it made my heart do a little bit of leave.
It's still in the $46 million range is the cost estimate for that. But the original projected cost on it was $120 million, where it
When it was
was
4 lane, okay.
That went all the way through.
Yes.
Going up
Oh,
to-
they have-
Tuesday now is stopping them, but that's not even.
That used to be 90, then that went to
Okay, that just made my heart leap a little bit when I saw 120 million. I thought, I wrote that down, I might ask about that one. Thank you very much. Okay, any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, really quickly, just for the record, the resolution that you are approving is in your additional materials, so that you can get a look at it. It's exactly what you're looking at in the material, is just the resolution that the chairman.
What I saw here is the same thing, like resolution, just.
Yes, sir.
So we did the public hearing while I was gone on October 7th.
Yes.
Okay.
That document is not in your materials, that's not in your material.
Very good, I understand, that's the resolution. Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Johnson. Anyone else, any questions, discussion? If not, I'll entertain a
make a
motion.
motion to adopt capital improvement element updates as written.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Kiefer, second by Mr. Litch. To adopt the CIE as presented here tonight. That's probably alternative one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. Very good. I'll move into our reports from our administrative staff. Any reports from administrative staff?
For us, insurance, I kind of mentioned in the last board meeting you weren't here, Mr. Chairman, was that we're facing a 23% increase through Blue Cross Blue Shield. We've been seeking some alternatives. We have received an bid from United Healthcare, but all the other major carriers have not responded at this point. We've been looking for some solutions and some alternative ideas on, addressing the cost increase. I plan on meeting with the board members over the next 2 weeks before the next board meeting to actually bring it before you for approval. But the approximate increase, without making any other modifications, is between $700,000 and $900,000, depending on employment levels. So it's a substantial amount of money, and we're doing everything we can to address it. But it's a pervasive problem throughout insurance and across the country that everyone's facing these increases. So, but we're working diligently to give you some good working solutions on that. And that'll be coming up. And
Just a couple of comments about that. I did get with Steve this week to heard about that 23% increase. But if I understand it correctly, make sure I'm correct on this, Mr. Steve, but will that cost to us, first of all, we hope we can reduce that based on the bidding, and we got another bid in that may help us negotiate that down already some. But then we only have to absorb about 50% of that in this current budget.
that's correct.
We've got to still consider it over the long-term haul, so as we panic at the 700 to the million, between now and 2019, June 30th, we have about 350,000. We believe we can lower that, but there's some
We believe we can get it down.
If you think you have it, should be shared with us.
Yes. The increase is annualized, that's correct.
Gotcha. All right, what else do you have? Anything else?
That's all for now.
Ms. Vicky, you want to add anything, or anything with personnel?
No, sir, but I would say that Cigna and Aetna have declined to provide quotes for our medical insurance. So we got one from United Healthcare, as Mr. Davis said, and then we're still waiting on from Humana if they're going to quote.
Blue Cross.
Yes, sir, they came up with the 23%, but that was before they got the lower one from United Healthcare.
And we're also looking at the actual coverage. They were supposed to quote us on life policies. So we're going to make sure that there's no reduced benefits within there that so it's comparable. So we're in the midst of that now.
Okay, very good. Ms. Christie, you have anything?
I don't.
Okay. Did we get a financial report tonight?
Yes, sir.
Am I looking at it? Very good, okay. So we'll look at that and we'll have questions for you next time. Thank you for getting that for us. Ms. Amanda, anything from you? We understand while I was gone, you decided you didn't like the chairman anymore and you were going to leave us.
No, that's not exactly accurate. But, you know, I think I've spoken with most of you individually, and, you know, was able to share the pleasure and enjoyment that I've had in the short time here. But as noted,
Yeah, pleasure's been ours. We appreciate your time with us. Wish it was longer. Anything you need to share with us tonight, any reports, any information?
I have no additional reports for you this evening, no.
Okay, thank you very much. Get off Ms. Fiona, get all the staff that night. How about Stephanie?
Just another thing, you've already mentioned the financial report from the finance department for September. You'll also have in your boxes the monthly report for EOM for September. That's all I have.
Mr. Chairman, if I could add one more thing, that we're trying to put the final touches on a town hall meeting for the McCall Road widening project in Commissioner Burdett's area. And he can also get to introduce himself to the community down there, but that's, the date that we're looking at is next Thursday at Blandford Elementary School from 5 to 7.
Roger and I plan to be there. We welcome you to the commission support that wants to be a part of that with us.
Thursday, 5 to 7.
There's that to say. Very good. Do we have any meeting scheduled with EOU? I'd like to get kind of caught up on some of our projects. You know, do you have anything scheduled in the near future?
I've been meeting with them, you know, a couple of times a week recently, and especially with the situation with development services, to make sure that we cover the gap in service there. So, you know, I don't have a set meeting for us, but I have a standing meeting where they're actually going to be coming in 2 days a week until we replace the zoning administrator position.
Yeah, I might want to be involved in a few of those meetings. I want to just see what's in our projects and other meetings. So if you give me a calendar, that'd be great. Go around, Mr. Leopard, anything from the commission?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Leach?
Two things. I got a complaint last week, got in the farming area, about trash cans being in the road, people not pulling them out. I've asked Stephanie if there's a way we can just put out a reminder for everybody about our sanitation ordinance, about the time we can pull the trash cans back in. The other thing is next Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, it is the ACCG's 12th district, which I represent on their board. It is their annual district meeting in Richmond Hill at 10 a.m. next Thursday. If any of y'all are interested, let me know. I'll give you full details. That's next Thursday.
How much will be there?
That's all I have.
And Commissioner Deloach, just to address the trash carts, we have posted to our Facebook page. We've also put some information on our website. And as you requested, we're running an ad in the paper, a block ad in the paper.
Okay.
Just to remind you.
Okay, thank you.
And we have I don't know if we do it right now, but we have an ordinance that can be cause a fine or penalty if they don't do it that right. We have a warning that our code enforcement could put on those cans that might get their attention as they see them.
Good.
And that'd be wise.
That
Just
section
put
of
the
the
warning,
ordinance.
please remove these cans to avoid any.
Leave a bunch of them on these narrow roads. I mean, they said, two cars meet, they have one of them have to wait for the other and get by for it, so you can go around trash cans.
I know it seems like it'd be good just to put a courteous warning on there, let them know, because they do not see the other stuff that out on Facebook or whatever.
So I'll say leave the ad or
Get the ad,
Facebook,
get the ad.
just remind everybody.
We try that first, but then what might come back and put a warning. I hate for the first thing they get is a citation. Let them really get a warning before citation. Okay. Excuse me.
I'm good.
Mr. Burdette?
Just following up on the trash, we communicated with the citizens about the recycling changes with no glass. I continue to occasionally get a call, people that are not on Facebook or do not receive the paper weren't aware. I don't know if we can ask Atlantic to maybe, how do they inform the citizens before? Do they actually go tape flyer on the recycling cans, do y'all remember?
They did.
There's still people, I don't know if that needs to be, maybe they could put a permanent sticker that kind of lists what they can take, but I've got several calls, people can't understand why they're not taking glass. But they don't have to explain it, but I think it would be good for them to possibly try to communicate that again.
Maybe a permanent no glass.
As my understanding, I
Trash
mean,
is no bad idea.
that was not a company decision like Atlantic Waste. I mean, that was an industry.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
That was an industry decision, right?
I just want to I've explained that to them blue in the face.
Yeah.
They're like, I just want a can milk, you know, and the Atlantic sticking a sticker on it saying you can't pick it up because it's glass. But I think we need to try to make the citizens aware. There's still people that aren't aware. And whenever they do their checks, they'll put a little orange tag and they'll pick it up. And then these folks have to make arrangements to dump the can and the other can. Older folks can't crawl down there and probably pull the glass, so it's small, it's an issue. So if we can get them to communicate that again, put some flyers out or stickers on the cans, I don't know how we want to do it.
If you're taking time to put a tag on it, maybe we could take time just to put a flyer on it and say, we would love to take this glass, but we cannot, it's
Right.
industry standard.
I did have a question concerning trash, since we're talking about trash. The recycle part of it, is it supposed to have bags or no bags?
I don't think it's required to have bags.
It's not required. And just so you know, on the glass, they can take it out. It just can't be recycled.
Well, they're
They
telling
can still put
us.
it in the trash can.
The regular
The
trash.
regular trash can, just not the recycled can.
Trash can, not the recycle.
He's got a good question, if the recyclables in a bag, will they not pick it up?
They're telling us they're not going to pick that up.
Well, I guess they can't check it, they can't kind of verify something.
Is that what they're saying?
That's what they told us last time.
I would verify that, you check that with Atlantic Waste and see if that's a stick, because we need to let people know that.
Yeah.
I was aware of that until we got there. So.
Because we put our recyclables in bags.
I will check on that. So first I've heard that, so.
And send an email out to us, just let us know.
And while we're on trash, they're gonna start doing next, the yard cans for the different districts. So we're gonna start that, probably next month. So that'll start beginning. So we'll take, additional, trash in the big, trash, the roll-offs, excuse me. That was the word I was looking for. And we'll try and spread that around the county.
Steve, have you decided which location we're starting? What end of the county?
Well, I think we're gonna do, down in District 2 and at the McCall Park, we're gonna use that, as one location, the transfer station, and then they were looking at a couple others. We haven't identified, whether, District 1 is very difficult because goes all the way from 119 all the way down to, I-95 or I-16 rather. So where we could find a middle ground in there, so it's centrally located. So we're still trying to identify a couple of locations with that.
Probably good
But
to map those possible locations and get them out to the commissioners so they can have some input about where that roll-off is going to be.
And also consider where they've been done in the past with the public, because people are aware of those.
Yeah, that's a good consideration where the Republic have, they know where to go. Maybe a map and get it out to commissioners, and let us look and
yes, sir.
make some recommendations. Good. Okay. Anything else about garbage?
It was a good topic tonight.
No problem. Okay, let's see. It sounded like a couple minutes. Anything from the public? Like to share something real quick? A couple minutes?
Yeah, I'd like to see something on about this trash can stand. I got a neighbor that leaves his out
Sir.
about all week
So if you
long.
come to the microphone and state your name, that'd be great.
If I know how to do this, I just kept my mouth shut. I got some neighbors that leaves theirs out all week long. I mean, if a can is provided for them, at least they can do is take that gun plane off. If they leave it out there 2 days, y'all ought to be putting a fine on them.
Yeah, and that's what Mr. Deloach was bringing up earlier. We want to try two things. One, we want to do another advertisement on Facebook and let them know that there is a penalty for that. Please remember that. And I was suggesting on top of that, let's give a warning on the next time. Try to be as gracious as we can, and then if they don't comply, then we do have an ordinance in place that does penalize them. So we'll try to work on that for you.
You don't mean gracious enough, even having the cans out there. That system's a lot better than having a big old dumpster at an intersection like the got in Screw County, because people will go there and just throw it out all over the place. They won't put it in cans.
I agree, appreciate it. We're gonna try to work on that, bring those cans back to the houses.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Louise, you had called me and said you might want to ask a couple of questions about the ordinance. You've got a couple of 3 minutes, you want to ask a few questions and bring something to our attention before we move on.
Thank you for allowing me to do this. My name is Louise Exler-Reiner, and I live at 105 St. Thomas Drive in Rankin, Georgia. And first off, I'd like to say thank you for allowing me to express the concerns about the housing of the animals and so forth that are approved by the county ordinance, specifically in the lots at Pine Point Estate Subdivision, Rankin, Georgia. Mr. Corbett, you asked me to make this brief, and I'm going to try to. I'm not a brief person, but I am if I'm in front of people. My neighbor has approximately 1.5 acres, and I have approximately 5.4 acres facing the side of his home, where he has 4 alpacas and approximately 24 chickens within the same pen. The county ordinance says that he can have unlimited amounts of animals and chickens as long as he houses or encloses them a minimum of 200 feet away from the next closest dwelling. We have the corner lot at 105 St. Thomas Drive, and he has a frontage lot at 103 St. Thomas Drive. We built back on our lot and made a pond in the front because of a low place within this land, and his land is low too. Our front entrance, which consists of a fish pond, a mailbox, and a yard, joins his side of the lot where these animals are kept. Now granted, he is 200 feet from our dwelling, but not from our front yard. This brings me to the question of just how many animals can he have on this piece of property? What if he decides to add to his collection of animals with other animals? At one point in time, he had pigs in a pen, and the smell was overwhelming. With much complaints of the smell, the pigs are gone. But before they were able to butcher them, they waited on him and allowed him, which I thought was more ample time than needed to get rid of them. Okay, the pens remained where the pigs were gone, and we actually saw large rats come from the pen. Trust me, alpacas and chickens don't smell good either. They have offensive odors too, especially when it rains or the pens are not kept clean. Now, Pine Point Estate Subdivision is an older subdivision, and I assume it was zoned an AR1 before they established it, because it is strictly a residential area. There's no business, there's nothing else within this area. Okay, an AR1 says that it is to be 5 or more acres. However, he can have the same rights as an AR1 since he is a non-conforming lot, or non-conforming because of the AR1 zoning. Now this brings me to my other neighbors' concerns that their property may be facing the same thing soon to come. Yes, there are covenants still in effect that would restrict this, but attorneys are closing these houses without stating that. And therefore, it's hard to convince these new homeowners that they are bound by these covenants, and most of us older homeowners are on limited income, and we cannot afford a legal pursuit of the issue. This brings me to ask the commissioners and the zoning board to look into the ordinances and possibly change some things to protect these older subdivisions from issues like this in the future. I also ask that the health department be involved in approving where the animals are kept on these small lots because of the offensive odors and possibly the groundwater contributions that come from housing these animals adjacent to someone's yard, well, so forth, and not just their dwelling. I I thank you for your time, and I'd like to look forward to any questions you might have for me regarding this issue.
Ms. Minnie, did you gather me, some that I caught, did you catch a lot of it, didn't know how it was addressed and set us up with these things?
I got a copy I can give to her.
If you could give her a copy, Ms.
Be glad to.
Great.
Okay.
She asked if she'd come express her concerns about our 14.
I think you've been out there. I think she's familiar with this.
We are, we're familiar with the situation out there, and as she stated, it is a non-conforming AR1 lot. And under our ordinances, despite its non-conformity, the AR1 district allows for the keeping of animals. It's subject to the requirements that she highlighted with that minimal distance requirement of 200 feet to the nearest closest occupied dwelling. So we have assessed the situation out there. We have determined that there aren't any violations as it relates to our current ordinances. If there was any will of the commissioners to, look at revising any of those ordinances, it would take ordinance amendments to further restrict.
Is this something that you believe, based on your experience and what you see other communities, that we ought to be looking at?
I would say, looking at the AR1 districts, we do state that minimum of 5 acres. Understanding that there are some non-conforming neighborhoods out there, this one in particular, and also Westwood Heights is another non-conforming AR1 subdivision.
What does it mean non-conforming?
The lot is not 5 acres.
AR1's got to have at least 5 acres. Anything less than that is AR2.
At some point, these were zoned to AR1.
Okay.
So they're not conforming to today.
I got you. So non-conforming means non-conforming to today's zone requirement.
But they're still legally established. But they're still legally established because
So they'd be grandfathered in, as far as it would be hard to change it on them.
Yes.
So it'd have to be if they were sold or got removed themselves from that premises or that property, like their residence.
They very well could have been zoned AR1 under this ordinance. Just,
Commissioner Keefe, you're correct. Prior, when zoning was established in 1976, the entire county was blanketed as AR1. So you had residential developments that were being developed within the AR1 zoning. And as zoning progressed and more codes came into play, then you had your R1 to AR2s.
Right. And so I guess my thought is, is there anything that could be done if the board wanted to? I'm not saying we would or would not, but I appreciate your sharing information. Is there anything we could do, if we could, related to the number of restrictions without being any legal issues?
It'd be hard to change AR1, because they bought it AR1. It'd be hard to control.
I was thinking about that.
I think the way we would
Change it. You could change it.
the word is just the conforming to lots that are under a certain acreage,
Or, I think it was at the last meeting I presented the report where we specifically talked about chickens, and ordinance requirements that could be looked at, to allow for backyard chickens in certain residential districts. One of the suggestions in there, tied the number to the lot size, and I don't see why that couldn't be applied to other animal requirements as well, where you did base, a permitted number of, animals based upon the lot size.
Well, that's would be my interest for the board on the thoughts right there, is that I'd be concerned if there's no limits and you could actually have 6 or 7 cows out there because there's no requirement. You only got 1.4 acres. That's a little dry.
It does specify the swine, the number of swine you can have with the footage. If he had 4 or more, swine, back when he had the 2 or 3 pigs, whatever, the swine, if he would have had over 4, he'd have had to go over 900 feet. That would have even included us, even though we built back off the lot.
What you kind of do this long, my interest would be, if the board would get, is to at least find out, are there some restrictions we put on the number of animals at least? Just give us some information, the board may decide not to move forward that direction, they decide to move forward with it. It'd be nice to know, is there anything we can do to help those citizens who are next to someone with 12 animals on 1 acre lot? Can we find something that's good for everyone?
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
that would be my thought. And maybe we can talk about it and see what we're going to do in this direction, see some information. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. I'll take one more, then we'll take a break for recess and come back for public hearing. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Corbett. My name is Darrell Hutchison, and I live in the same subdivision. And I have spoken with the manager of the health department here, Darrell O'Neill, and we were complaining about the odor. He said there's nothing he can do about the odor on a state level because he's a state employee. It'll have to be done from the county. But we do have county ordinance here that in the AR1 that states about the odor, but it's going to have to be enforced by the county constable, or I'm not sure what his title is.
Oh, very good. I'd be interested in that too. What kind of odor ordinances that we have?
So hard to measure. That's the difficulty with it. I mean, we all know it smells bad, but how do you quantify that smell?
We'll look at the nuisance laws. You know, we have sound and noise ordinances as well as odor that transports across property lines. So we could probably review that section of it on how it impacts it. But I'm thinking that's more in the industrial realm rather than the residential or the agricultural.
That may be more industrial than it does.
I think it'd be easier to handle by the number rather than.
I think so too.
Subjective like that.
I think you'll get in a situation where it's hard to prove.
But I think what we're hearing is we need to gather some information to the board and make some reasonable decisions and give some wisdom that we can take both interests. Those who want to have animals, I want to be able to do that, but those who live next to them, that they're not put out here. So if we can get some information to go.
I also think that would play into the health of the animals. So they confine those space.
Yeah, he's got these 4 alpacas on about 1/5 of an acre of his rear yard. So, you know, I mean, it looks like it's very small for those big animals. But thank y'all.
Okay. It's a quarter till. We can take a recess, can't start, or we can go ahead and go into executive session for personnel, property, and human litigation. We can begin in executive session and then come back after. What's your drugs? We have 15 minutes. I don't know if we have a small round to discuss what. Okay, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back here at the top of the hour for our public hearing. Okay, we're going to call the planning board public hearing portion of our agenda tonight to order and move forward. First item for public hearing tonight is item number 1. The planning board recommends the approving of an application by Kobe Sauber to rezone 3.45 acres located at 2925 Sandhill Road from AR1 to AR2, and that in the 301 parcel 63 in the first district. We'll open the public hearing. Go ahead.
Commissioners, this request is for the rezoning in order to subdivide the property. The proposed plan is to subdivide into 2 lots, one at approximately 1.58 acres and the other being 1.87 acres. Staff and the planning board did recommend approval for this request.
Anyone here tonight would like to speak for this request?
I just want to state that we already.
State your name real quick.
I'm Ricky Sarver, Colby's dad. We already have 2 dwellings on it, a house and a mobile home. And he's soaked so much money into the house trying to do it, that he's not going to get his money back. Because I just bought 50 acres over on Sheer House Road, and he's going to sell that off so he can move over there with me and build him a new house.
Okay.
But it's got 2 septic tanks, 2 house, a house and a trailer, everything, so nothing's going to change.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Anyone else wanting to speak for this rezoning? Anyone here tonight in opposition who would like to speak against this rezoning? Seeing no one speaking in opposition, I'll close the public hearing on this item, and I'll see if there's any questions from the board. Do we have a motion from the members of the board?
Make a motion to approve the staff and planning board recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second Mr. Loper to approve staff and planning board recommendations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. So we move to the second reading, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Colby Sarver to rezone 3.45 acres located at 2925 Sand Hill Road from AR1 to AR2, map number 301, parcel 63 in the first district. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Kiefer to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. And so you have your request. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 3 in the public hearing, the planning board recommends approving an application by Mark Mayer of Mayer LLC to rezone 11.21 acres located at the corner of Highway 80 and Sand Hill Road, from AR1 to B3, map number 302, parcel 166 in the first district. And we'll open a public hearing.
This property is situated at the intersection of Highway 80 and Sand Hill Road. The applicant is requesting to rezone it to B3, which is the Highway Commercial District. The county's comprehensive plan does identify Highway 80 as being an arterial connector. This designation does encourage commercial development, particularly at intersections. For that reason, I found this request to be consistent with that comprehensive plan and did recommend approval. The planning board also made a recommendation for approval at their September 24th meeting.
Very good. Okay, anyone here wanting to speak for this rezoning?
Hi, good evening, Mark Mayer. I appreciate your consideration. Amanda spelled it out. We'd like to rezone it from AR1 to B3 if possible.
Okay, very good. Anyone else speaking for this tonight? Seeing no one, is there anyone in opposition to this rezoning? From AR1 to B3. Seeing no one in opposition, we'll close the public hearing on this item. See if there are any questions or comments from the board. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the planning board staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Loper to approve planning board and staff recommendations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. Item number 4, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Mark Mayer, LLC, to rezone 11.21 acres located at the corner of Highway 80 and Sand Hill Road from AR1 to B3, map number 302, parcel 166 in the first district. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Deloach to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. Item number 5, under the public hearing, we'll open the public hearing for the planning board recommends denying an application by Lisa Cannon for a variance to locate a camper trailer on site in the mobile home park located at 285 6th Street, Meldrum, map number 330A, parcel number 5F in the first district. Okay.
So this property is approximately 0.92 acres. It is a non-conforming mobile home park. There are currently 4 mobile homes located on this site. The applicant is requesting a variance in order to be able to locate a camper trailer where a 5th mobile home had existed. Under our current ordinances, camper trailers, RVs, are prohibited from being occupied as permanent dwellings. We only allow limited options for temporary dwellings whenever a home is either being constructed or undergoing repairs. That is not the case with this particular request. For that reason, staff and the planning board has recommended denial of this request.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here tonight speaking for this request?
Yes, sir.
Can you please come and state your name and share?
My name is Mike Cannon. Sir, my wife and Lisa and I are the owners of the mobile home park. We bought it from Miss Viola Harvey, and I own Michael's Roofing and Remodeling Company. The request to put the fifth wheel mobile home camper there is, I have photographs. If you try to put a full-size mobile home there, there's not room for it. And the reason for the fifth wheel camper being put there is more of a hardship. My sister-in-law Lynn, which is sitting beside my wife Lisa, has been married for 44 years to the same gentleman, which was forced into a divorce, and she has nowhere to go. It's really not a permanent. I heard you say that for a permanent, I really can't tell you exactly how long the fifth wheel camper would be there, but it would be permanently tied down and properly set up. For us, the camper fits there. Miss Viola that we bought the park from is 98 years old and lives next door. Lynn is also a great caregiver, and Miss Viola wrote a letter in here saying that it would be convenient for her, for Lynn to be next to her to help take care of Miss Viola. I mean, I have photographs. I know that my wife Lisa come previously and it was denied for several reasons. One was a complaint about hurricane. Well, I'm being in the roofing and construction business, know very well much what wind-borne debris is, and any mobile home or camper or the debris that's in all the neighbor's yard would be way more dangerous than the camper itself being in that spot. It's more for us a hardship for Lynn, and we're just asking this board to please reconsider letting that fifth wheel be there as a temporary situation until we can find a more permanent solution for Lynn a place to stay. There's been, I think, two neighbors, Mr. Dyer and Mr. McEwen, that opposed the camper being there, and they were the only two, but we have neighbors that's all the way around it that don't oppose it. Mr. Dyer currently has a mobile home in this park, and Mr. McEwen does not. We understand and respect their concerns, but we just are, asking for negligence and asking you to reconsider that it is not a permanent situation. It's more of a temporary, and it's kind of a hardship that helps Lynn and Miss Viola out.
Anytime we've done this, there's been an end game. People can habitat or live in these while they're doing something there without any type of permanent solution in sight. And there are smaller mobile homes that can be purchased to put there.
This is pretty small, but we've also have photographs of other mobile home parks that's on Goshen Road that has 2 or 3 fifth wheel campers in that park. They're in this folder. They're in Effingham County.
They're not supposed to be.
They're
not supposed to be.
There's I'm not here to throw anyone else under the bus. Believe me, I'm not. I'm in the, and it's just it's something that would be a big help to our family and to Lynn, and more importantly, next door caregiver for Miss Viola, who's 98, who's owned the park for many years. And if you looked at any of the photographs and see that any of the properties that we have bought around Melbourne, we've done nothing but upgrade it.
Just a question, the park, you don't own the park, someone else owns the park?
No, we own the park. Miss Viola owned it, but we bought it from Miss Viola with the contingencies that Miss Viola stay there until she passes. She's 98.
Okay, and there are other rental units on that?
Yes, sir. Mr. Dyer, which is opposing the camper, owns one of the smaller mobile homes there, and then Kevin owns 2, and a previous tenant just sold us one of the other mobile homes, and then Miss Viola, of course, lives in a double wide that's on the property.
So how many units do you own on this?
I own the whole park.
How many units do you own though?
Just Miss Viola's trailer, but she lives there until she passes, and then we just recently, in the past 30 days, bought another one. One of the other tenants bought them a place in the country, so we bought that mobile home from them.
Would that not be a viable alternative for Lynn to move into that unit that's, owned?
It could possibly be, sir, it would, but Lynn had already bought the fifth wheel camper, and she's kind of on a tight budget, and her going through a divorce after 44 years of marriage don't know if she could afford to pay the rent and the lot rent when she's already took what money she got out of the divorce and purchased a fifth wheel camper.
There are RV parks, I know Richmond Pines has permanent setups for those. I mean, there's parks in the county that camper can be placed on a permanent basis.
Yes, sir, but we own this one and she wouldn't have to pay lot rent.
That opens the door.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think some alternatives, like because you were saying that she'd have to pay, she not can afford a lot rent and the trailer rent, but if you're not gonna charge a lot rent on that one, maybe you could not charge a lot rent on that one and lower her rent, maybe that would be a viable alternative. So I think what Mr. Floyd is saying, that without an end game, that's what we usually try to do is it gonna be 9 months, is it gonna be 6 months?
And it's usually building a home also.
It's usually rented for summer events.
I hate to put it in those terms, but it would be till Miss Viola passed. I don't know how long that would be. I hope she lives 10 years, but she's 98. When Miss Viola passes, then our prayer is that our mother-in-law, Lisa's mom, will move into the double wide and Lynn would move in with her, and then the fifth wheel would be moved.
I can't speak for the board, but I think it's going to be a real issue because there may be people who are not complying with the law. We need to go check that one out.
Yeah, well, there's
It's
several.
a real problem for us to do something on a permanent basis or until someone passes that circumvents our ordinance.
Right, once it's done, it's done. And that's the problem. I mean, if there's problems in another area, then we need to address that. But now we have the issue of notifying those people and then whatever the process will be, evicting, and then they have to sell their mobile home or their camper. I mean,
And need to move it to an RV park.
or move it to an RV park.
I don't want to cause, another person problems, but there's several mobile home parks in Effingham County with campers on lots hooked up. We were just, we know the law and we're supporters of Effingham County. We've been here all our lives, but we were just asking the board to just reconsider.
Do you have the date in mind at all? Yeah, it's so open-ended. It's the most difficult thing. Mr. Floyd said, I mean, there's no end game. You're coming here asking for 9 months, that would be one thing. Or asking for a year even.
Well, if I knew how long Miss Viola would live, that would just be.
I mean, that's contingent on somebody passing away.
Correct. And granted, we hope she lives 10 years, but she is 98.
I think the sympathy is that if there's a medical or issue that this is your sister?
Yes, sir. It's my sister-in-law.
Near you that you want to help. If they were, there's compassion and interest in that, I think, but if it was like, until we can find a mobile home that's the right size, we need 6 months to do that, and then we'll remove it. If there was something like that, is that something we could work on?
A date or something to work on.
That was related to.
But then if you didn't have that place, we would have the issue with, if you did find a small mobile home that you could place there permanently, then you're going to have the issue of moving this again and moving.
Well, would you consider, say, a 2-year? I mean, that she has to recuperate from spending $10,000 on the camper. And then you got to find a mobile home to put there. And believe me, if you look at it, it's a small spot.
I understand that thought process should have started in the beginning.
2 years isn't a long time, gentlemen, when you think about it. Time flies.
Recoup some of her money and put that towards her family. If she's sold for $5,000, it goes a long way.
Correct, but until she sold it, is there a time limit she could leave it there, hook it up and stay there? Is there a time limit that y'all were happy with? I mean,
Again, there's no.
Yeah, I think you would probably need to go to an RV park for 2 weeks, 2 months until it can be sold. If that's the issue, and then you keep that money and then look at maybe her moving into the rental unit that you have, or finding a smaller home that would fit on that lot. I think I'm hesitant about approving something we've never approved before. We've done, like I said, for short term, for construction and those kind of things. But and those are usually 6 months to 9 months, usually the outset. Okay. Well, let's see what, is anyone else wanting to speak for this tonight?
Lisa does.
Okay.
My name is Lisa Cannon, and the mobile home that we just purchased from some people that live there, it's in really, really, really bad shape. I mean, you would have to put probably $4,000 into it at least, maybe even $5,000 to get it even in livable condition. We just tried to help these people out because they wanted to move, they found a property, they needed $4,000 to put for a down payment, so we bought that trailer from them for $4,000. No heat, no air, it needs all new carpet, so much stuff that needs to be done. So our thoughts, if you looked at these mobile homes in here, and even Mr. Dyer's, all these mobile homes in here needs to be upgraded, period. So we had even thought about just moving this home out of here, just moving that mobile home completely off the lot. And because there's no need to put $5,000, $6,000 into a home that's in such bad shape like that. But then Lynn would not have enough money to get her a home to put back there. She spent $10,000 and that's all she has. So, I mean, if you could maybe just let her keep it there a year or so, just till she recuperated would be awesome. I mean, I've got pictures, it's not like it's right on top of everybody. You know, Miss Viola's got plenty of room, and then on the other side is Miss Patty, which is Lynn's age, she's got plenty of room. It's not like it's all jumbled together.
This is a 1 acre lot,
0.92 acres.
0.92 acres,
Yeah.
5 structures on it.
But it's not, I mean, I can show you, it's not jumbled up. It doesn't, you would think it looks jumbled, but it's not. It's the way they're turned and everything. It's really not jumbled up. And 4 of the mobile homes, including Mr. Dyer's, they've just been there for years and years and years, and they all need to be updated, except for Miss Patty's, Miss Viola's, and then Lynn's, because Lynn's little camper looks very nice. It's 40 foot, I think, or something like that, and it looks good. But
What was there before?
a very small mobile home was there maybe before we ever bought it. I really don't know how long ago it was, but it was a while before. So it was a small mobile home there. And so we did put new all electricity. I put a new phone pole and everything there, which was like $1,400 for that. And all new septic tank lines, septic tank, and all that kind of stuff, you know. So actually those 3 places up front where Miss Viola and Miss Patty and Lynn are, it looks really, really good. It's the 4 behind it that really needs some improvement. So we were going to, but you can't ask people just don't have the money to get up and just move. So, you know, if you could just give us a year or so would be great. I mean, it really would. We could do something, like I said, Lynn could recuperate and maybe we could figure out something else. But right now, this is the only option we have, you know, for now, because she spent all this money. And I mean, we would tie it down. It would have tie downs, and it would have front porch and back porch and flowers. Believe me, it would look really presentable. It would look very presentable. And then when Miss Viola passed away, which she's in good shape, she's 98, but if she passed away in a year or 2, then Lynn would move over into the double wide. And if you didn't want the mobile home there, I mean the trailer there anymore, then we could just move it off. But if you could just grant us a year or so would be awesome. So I thank you. And I've got pictures here that shows you the room and how much room you've got and those things, you know. It's not like everything. I know you think because it's only that much land, they're really not piled up. I mean, if you go in some of these trailer parks and stuff, the homes is just right there together. It's not like that with these. It's really not.
Yeah, I think the issue is not going to be so much the what's a mobile home lot? 100 by 100 is the standard lot, is that what it is via plumbing and, that's off the top of your head, I know.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I want to say it's like, it might be 2 per acre there if you don't have plumbing. I'm trying to remember, 100 by 100, maybe 4 per acre, but I don't know off the top of my head either. I think the issue is that there's ordinances in place and there has to be a specific event.
The only time we've allowed this is for the building of a permanent structure. And I think the longest we've ever allowed is 9 months.
Like if
And that was, they already had planned the property
Yep. Like if they were going to remodel this unit that
or
they
something
have,
like that, but I don't
and they'd
think,
be ready in 6 months to move her in, that might be a possibility.
you know, there are RV lots available, and maybe the family can somehow help with the lot right there and move it there. That would be my suggestion.
And there are some opportunities out there. I don't need to try to share with you what you need to do, but I mean, I know I've did some mobile homes, some lots where I've got them for free. People just want to get them off the properties and I remodel them, move them, and everything. It's set up for under $10,000 completely redone. So there are some options available to you. Just take that out there. I don't know if we can, if the board's going to want to put it without some definite event of remodeling, building, or something in 6 months being done. But we'll let the board speaking decide.
So if we couldn't get anything within 6 months, then we just,
I'm not sure what, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm thinking you have to have a request like, I'm going to remodel this home and prepare it for my sister, and it'll be ready in 6 months. You know, then that'd be plenty of time to remodel one, obviously, because I do them all the time. But that was something I think I could work with, you know, because it's a definite time period. I got a place for her, but I just need a place for her right now.
all right.
We'll see, there may be some others that have different thoughts. Anyone else? Speaking for or against?
Against.
Okay, what do you got? Anyone else speaking for this tonight? Okay, see none, we'll, see if you want to speak against, go ahead.
My name is Ronald Dyer, and I would not be opposed to a temporary time frame. I would be opposed to a permanent time frame. And that's my position, because if you allow one to go there, then at any given time, you'd have to put another one there and whatnot. So I would not, just want to clarify, I would not be opposed to a temporary solution, but for it to be a permanent variance, then I'm opposed to that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else who would like to speak against this request?
Yes, sir. I would just like to add, you did say.
Sir.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
If you're going to allow her to do it for a temporary till she make a more permanent resolution, if 9 months is all you allow, then we understand that, but we'd like to ask for a year. I do run a roofing company, and it's slammed right now due to Hurricane Michael. So the 9 months, I mean, we accept whatever decision you come up with, but request for a year would be really lenient. Thank you.
Anyone speaking against? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and see if the commission has any questions or discussion they'd like to have.
I made my points whenever I spoke. I'm open to any input from the commission. There's already parts available in my opinion.
Any alternative considerations or you ready for a motion? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I understand the situation, but I make a motion to deny variance.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Burdette to deny, in other words, uphold the planning board and staff recommendations. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And it is denied. don't know what the options are about what sketch you might look at. We've had to talk to them, need to call afterwards. That's my idea, to kind of give them that business a little bit. We're trying to help them with hardship. So we don't need a second reading? So we move to item number 7. The planning board recommends approving an application by William Russell Aldridge for a variance to occupy a travel trailer as a temporary dwelling during the construction of a residence to be located at 1221 Oliver Kildare Road, map 218, parcel number 11 in the 3rd district. I'll open the public hearing. If you want to start by sharing the information.
Yeah, Commissioners, in this case, there is a building permit that has been issued and construction is underway of a new residence on this property. So the applicant has requested to occupy this travel trailer as a temporary dwelling during the construction of the residence. For this reason, staff has recommended approval. The planning board also made a recommendation to approve the request with the following stipulations. That upon the issuance of the certificate of occupancy, the camper must be vacated and disconnected from the well and septic, and the variance is to be permitted for no longer than 8 months. So with this recommendation, we have something that we can tie the removal of this trailer to.
Okay. Thank you. Is anyone speaking for the variance tonight? This request?
And so this is the whatever comes first, the 8 months or the building?
That's right, whichever one comes first.
Anyone tonight speaking against this variance? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and see if there's any additional questions or comments from the board. Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve with staff and planning board recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second Mr. Loper to approve planning board and staff recommendations. All in favor say aye. All opposed no. And that carries. Second reading, consideration to approve a second reading of an application by William Russell Aldridge for a variance to occupy a travel trailer as a temporary dwelling during the construction of the residence to be located at 1221 Oliver Kildare Road, map number 218, parcel number 11 in the 3rd district. Have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion Mr. Deloach, second Mr. Keeper to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. And it carries.
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself from the next item. The applicant is a family member.
All right, thank you, Mr. Loach. Note that Mr. Loach is recusing himself and stepping down. And we'll open the public hearing as follows. The planning board recommends approving an application by Dustin Onshore to rezone 2.01 acres out of 36.62 acres located at Pleasant Acres Road from AR1 to AR2, map 345, parcel number 41 in the 4th district. And we'll open the public hearing. Go ahead.
And this request for rezoning is for the subdivision of property to create an approximately 2.01 acre lot having frontage on Pleasant Acres Road. Staff and the planning board has recommended approval of this request.
Okay. Anyone tonight speaking for this request, this rezoning?
Hey, yes, I'm Dustin Arsdorf, and I'm looking to build a single-family home on the family property.
Very good, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else speaking for this request tonight? Anyone present speaking against this request for rezoning? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask if there's any questions or discussions from the commission. Seeing none, entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve staff recommendations. Second.
Motion, Mr. Loper, to approve staff recommendations, and I'm sure it's his only board recommendations as well. And second by Mr. Kiefer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. And it carries. Second reading, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Dustin Onsler to rezone 2.01 acres out of 36.62 acres located on Pleasant Acres Road, Mayor on BR2, map number 345, parcel number 41, 4th District. Have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Motion, Mr. Luke, to approve second reading. Do you have a second? Second by Mr. Burdette to approve the second reading. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. Item number 11 is the planning board. Open public hearing for the planning board recommends denying an application by Margaret Edward for a variance to allow the use of a camper as a temporary dwelling on property located at 148 Vicky Lane, map number 471A, parcel number 49 in the 4th District. And I apologize, I do recognize that Mr. Deloach has returned. Thank you. And we'll open the public hearing.
This lot is approximately 0.95 acres. It is in the AR 170 district. The applicant is requesting for the use of a camper as a temporary dwelling on the property. In discussions with this applicant regarding the application, that we do understand that this is to be used for, recreational, personal use. There are no known plans at this time or building permits that have been applied for to construct a dwelling on the site. And for these reasons, staff and the planning board has recommended denial based on past policy and decision-making on these items.
Okay, thank you. Anyone tonight speaking for this variance request? Please come forward and state your name and share with us.
I'm Margaret Edwards. I did not recommend when I was up here, the first hearing, that I put a mobile home or a home on this property. I cannot do that because this property was bought for my daughter. She is legally blind. I do not know if she's going to lose the rest of her vision. I cannot put something there that I do not know that's going to be something that she is going to be able to use. It is going to be used for recreation if this is passed until the time comes that she has to move on this property.
So this is, go ahead.
It's going to be used for recreation or for your daughter?
It's going to be used for recreation for right now. She is living in South Carolina at the time. She lives in an apartment where it is for people with vision problems and disabilities. They're talking about doing away with this property, with the cuts and things that is being done. This property will be given to her to do whatever, put whatever she needs. Not what I need, but what she is going to need.
So is anyone going to be living in it while she's in South Carolina?
Only in and out. It would be in and out.
And so she would be the one using it in and out?
No, I will be using it until she needs the property. Because it's got to be kept up. It's got the yard and all, and things has got to be done. I have a 35-foot camper on it at the present time.
I'm thinking that, and I don't know what the requirements are on this, but I've seen where people park campers under shelters and they store them, in our neighborhoods or wherever it's legally allowed, but they're not being used as a residence. That's something that would be viable if she wanted to store it on the property, right?
I would love to have a top put on. This is what I wanted to do, have a metal carport type thing over the top of it, so it would not limbs and things like that. I've just had 7 trees took down off of this property.
I'm sure she's attempting to get a septic permit, is probably what maybe pursuing.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Do you have a septic permit?
Yes, there's a septic on it, lights is on it, and septic tank, everything, well, a deep well, everything is on this. This used to be the home of a mobile home. When Matthew went through, it destroyed it. I had all of that cleaned up. It has taken over $15,000 just to get that property cleaned. That's the mess it was in.
All right, thank you much.
Thank you.
Anyone else speaking for this variance request tonight? Anyone else speaking for this variance request?
My daughter is here to, if you want to speak with her.
Sure, she's welcome to come share.
Do you want to say anything? I'm Suzanne Edwards. My mom got this property for me later on when I would need it. The apartment complex where I live at right now is got some problems. And my eye doctors that I have is here, so I will be moving here when the need comes. And my mom did speak correctly. She does not know what my need is going to be because my vision will continue to decrease. And she does not know what I'm going to need in the future. So that's why she is not putting anything there until I get ready to where I'm going to need it, so I will know exactly what kind of construction, I'm going to need to be able to be there to live, by myself. So if y'all will reconsider this, I greatly appreciate it.
So this is asking to use it, but you build a structure eventually, is that what you're saying?
Yes, I don't know what I'm going to need in the future, so, but when the time comes, something will, eventually be put there for me.
Where are you staying right now? You're living with your mother currently?
No, I'm living in South Carolina at an apartment complex for the handicapped people.
As assistants, an assistant living type situation, what you said earlier, in South Carolina.
But we're having some problems there and stuff, so, I don't know how much longer you're going to be there.
Are there any plans to move as of now? As far as a definitive time?
No, sir, I don't know because things change from year to year. I don't know. With the cutbacks and stuff in the government and stuff, I can't answer that. I don't know.
Okay.
Each year it just gets harder and harder.
I think once again, we're faced with what we had earlier, that, if there was, I understand that you're not sure what your needs might be in the future. If this request tonight was a permit to put a structure on, and you needed a temporary place while that structure was being built to meet your needs when you do move, I think that'd be something that the board can respond to more effectively, efficiently, with a variance. But with an open end and not knowing if you'd be leaving there next year or 2 years, in my opinion, it's something that we need to wait and see if there's going to be a structure where we can do a variance to allow you to build what you need, or put a mobile home there that meets your needs, that meets the ordinances that we have in place now. But to allow a variance for a recreational vehicle that will not be your permanent residence, it's going to set the county topsy-turvy of people who want to put recreational vehicles on these types of lots. That's not permitted.
Well, sir, what am I going to do with the lot that I bought and paid for?
You need to come to the mic, ma'am, if you would, so we can record. Thank you.
I'm sorry. But what are you going to do with something that you've bought and paid for good intentions like with this? That you thought you were doing the right thing with this?
I understand, but I think I got her to say that she may need a different home when she gets a permanent place of living, that the recreational vehicle would not suit probably what she needs.
No, sir, it's not for her. This recreation vehicle is not for her. This recreation vehicle, this is something that is put there. She has to get used. We've struggled with this ever since she was 3 years old. You have to get used to an area. You've got to know that area when you cannot see. She has vision, only partial vision in one eye. You can't just go somewhere and think you're going to be able to function if you don't know what you're getting into.
Right, I agree, and what I was looking at though, if you could put that there where she can get used to the area, and it was a place that she was gonna live while we were constructing or moving in a more mobile home that's more permanent, that met with the ordinance, it wouldn't be a difficult decision to give a variance. But to say that she's not gonna really be using it, she's living somewhere else, it's gonna cause problems for us legally in approving a variance like this.
Well, sir, do you think I would leave her in South Carolina when I'm down here for 2 or 3 weeks and she would be there and she would not be with me? She goes where I go. She is with me. I am her only means of getting around.
So you're living in South Carolina with her?
I live in South Carolina.
Okay.
This place, she has brothers here. When I'm 79 years old,
So you're both living in South Carolina, you're talking about coming and living in this unit together?
I wanted her, this is something I bought for her, so that she would be close to family. Because, you know, you never know, even a young person don't know if something, but like I said, I'm 79 years old, and I hope I live to be much older, but who knows? I want her to know. I want her to be around somebody. I want her to know she's going to be taken care of in an area that she knows.
Why didn't you buy a mobile home and put it on there?
Sir?
Instead of putting a camper trailer on there?
This camper, I had this camper. This camper was moved here when I bought the property. If I had known all of this, I would never have gotten involved with this property. Never would I have gotten it. If I had known that it was went through all of this. And I am sorry. I regret the day that I got involved with it. But the money is spent. The land is paid for. The camper is paid for. I've got over $15,000 just in cleanup that I have done there.
I appreciate that, and we appreciate your position, but we can't base our decisions on what people make investments in, or we can change the ordinances all.
Oh, sir, I understand that, and I'm like the gentleman that was here. On that road I live on, you see them in people's yard. I bet there's at least 10 on that road. And nothing is ever.
Are they living in them?
Oh, yes, sir, they're living in them. But that's not for me to say. And then I come up here and try to go through the right channels with this. Because I wanted to do it right. And then you tell me no. I don't understand it. I paid taxes 2 years on this property, and I've waited for this to go through this. And then you say no. No, 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 no. We can't have a camper city. We can't have a place. What do you think people's going to be living in before long? Because they can't afford a house.
Well, I appreciate your position. I appreciate your helping us understand. Okay. Thank you. I'm not going to call for ask anyone speaking against this variance, but I'll ask if we make sure anyone speaking against it. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and see if there's any questions or discussion, additional comments from the board.
The only thing I can tell them is only thing I can say to them is to sell that camper and buy them a trailer and put it in place of that trailer.
Sir, can I say something else?
I've actually closed the public hearing, but I'll give you one more minute.
What is the difference in a travel trailer that you can move with a truck when a hurricane is something coming? Can you hook up to a mobile home and move that to safety when something is like that bad one? Which is safer? Could you answer that for me?
Well,
which is safer?
That's not the issue at hand for us.
No, it's not. But I tell you like this. Something that you can hook a truck to, which I have, and it can be moved, is a heck of a lot safer than a mobile home sitting there that you know is going to be destroyed.
Understand, thank you. I think what Mr. Locust recommended though is that the value of the land has not been diminished, and it might be something you could consider there is looking for a mobile home and selling the recreational vehicle, maybe finding a way to adequately provide a place. Any other questions or comments? Discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to deny planning board and staff recommendations.
To deny according to the planning board staff recommendations.
Yes.
Right. So the motion is to deny according to planning board and staff recommendations, and do I have a second? Second by Mr. Burdette. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And they were out, but that is denied. Okay, we don't need the second reading. It does hurt when you can't reach out, but I don't know if they realize what a can of worms that opens for us without some temporary resolve. And there, like you said, there's mobile homes, and I bought mobile homes for, really for nothing. Some people just want to get them off the land, and then you can fix them up, and you build your path for, $10,000 to max, you could really have a nice mobile home somewhere.
And I believe there's some validity on some RVs that are being occupied.
Yes.
Right here.
I've seen that. Especially after tonight, we had 3 items.
Yeah.
Well, and we give them time on it if they building something.
Right.
If they're building something. So, I guess the best thing she could have done is spell out what she could do before she already had.
Sure, and I was looking if she had said, we're gonna, we need 6 months to live here where we build a house for her, I'll find a permanent home, we probably could have complied with that as well. That would have been a temporary basis.
You gotta do it for one, you gotta do it for all.
That's the bigger issue. Okay, item number 13, the public hearing. The planning board recommends approving an application by Amazon.com, DED LLC for a conditional use to allow for warehouse operations in the B3 zoning district located at 140 Commerce Court, map 466, parcel number 1. I'm assuming that's 1.2 in the 5th district, is that right?
It's 1 and 2, 466.
1 and 2, I saw comma, what's for the comma or point? Okay. 1 and 2 in the 5th district. And we'll open the public hearing. Ms. Amanda?
Yeah, this site is located within the Effingham Park of Commerce. This area of the county looks very much like an industrial park. There is some various zoning districts throughout, primarily B3 and also I1 industrial zoning. This particular lot, though, is zoned B3. So the proposed warehousing operation is identified as a conditional use within the B3 zoning and requires this application to come forward. However, with the general appearance of being an industrial park back in that area, we do find that the request is compatible with the adjacent uses out there, and therefore staff and the planning board has recommended approval of the request.
So just make sure I said the warehousing is a conditional use of that zoning, it just requires coming before the board for.
That's correct. And I'd also like to note for the record that they have provided a site plan. It is in your package. I have reviewed that site plan for conformity with all of the parking, setback requirements, and it does comply with those zoning ordinance requirements.
Very, very good. Thank you, ma'am. Anyone here speaking for this request tonight? Conditional use?
Hi, Garrett Roy with Amazon. Appreciate your consideration and here to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Jack Garvin, how big is the warehouse going to be?
So it should be in your packet there, but it's just over 9,000 for the main structure with a breezeway for trailer docking to stay out of weather.
Very good.
Well, you can tell them about the employment. Employment.
Yes, so the question regarding employment, we wouldn't be able to comment on the specific figures, but at a high level, we'll have approximately 50 to 100 folks coming to the site each day in various forms of sortation, drivers, different positions that will be available at the site. Hiring is already started, and we've got a full crew started getting ready to make way for the site coming as well. So, thanks.
Is this a tent facility? Right?
A tent facility, I think so.
Is it a tent structure?
So it's a fabric structure that we use a vendor out of Iowa called Clearspan. They are the one of the industry leaders in it. It is fully permitted, fully warranted structure that is meant to last, so to speak, fully weatherproof, compliant with all the local building codes in terms of wind rating, things of that nature. We'll defer to the experts in the permit packet for that, but it does comply on that front.
Utilizes positive pressure, is that kind of?
So it uses helical anchors that form a foundation with steel trusses, and then really the only difference to a typical warehouse building is instead of having a wooden roof membrane or some sort of fiberglass, it has a ripstop fabric basic structure over the top of it that keeps weather and wind out.
Is this meant to be dismantled at the period of time and just used temporarily, or?
So our plan right now is to operate there until we outgrow it. At some point, due to customer demand and things of that nature, we'll likely outgrow the space and need additional space somewhere nearby. But our plan at this point is to operate there until we run out of space. So.
Any plans to build a building, or is this?
I couldn't comment specifically, but at a high level, we do know based on the size of this structure and wanting to be in the market, at some point we will likely need additional space.
But maybe not there. Maybe the same.
Have any ordinances against tents?
Is there any issues?
This structure has been reviewed by our building official. It has gone through the permitting plan review process and has failed to comply with any requirements that they may have. The understanding in our conversations was that this was, for the operation for a period really not to exceed 24 months, with the understanding that there would probably be the need to construct something.
So this is a 24-month.
We haven't tied any time frame to it. Our understanding in these conversations was that they were looking at this option as a 24-month option. They've used these in other locations, I think, throughout the county, and they've usually been for about that duration.
It wouldn't change your recommendation if it ended up being 6 years or 10 years, would it?
It would not change my recommendation, because my recommendation being tied to the use, which is completely appropriate for this area.
Okay. Very good. Anyone else speaking for this variance? Anyone tonight speaking against this variance?
My name's Jimmy Blakey. I live at 135 Magnolia Drive. Lord, I hate to see warehouses start popping up here in Effingham County like they're popping up everywhere in Chatham County. I mean, it'd be more truck traffic, more aggravation, trucks hogging up the road. But I know it's a cash cow for the county, but Lord knows I'd like to see y'all deny that. Thank you.
Do you live near this piece of property?
Sir?
Or is your property located near this piece of property?
That's down there in the Goshen Swamp, ain't it? Right there at Chatham County line?
Yes. Yeah, on the left.
Okay.
That's the business.
Yeah, I live near it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, sir. Anyone else speaking against this variance tonight? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and see if there's any comments or questions or further discussion from the members of the board.
I don't have any. I appreciate your comments. I mean, this property has been developed and designed for warehousing and such, and with that, I'm going to recommend, or make a motion for staff and planning board recommendation.
Thanks.
Motion by Mr. Keeper, second by Mr. Burdette, planning board staff recommendations. And I will add that one thing we're trying to do is locate where those places will be so they're not just all over the place.
Yeah, and it is in the back, very back of an industrial complex.
So that's what we don't want, we're going to pop up just everywhere, trying to keep control. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. Second reading, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Amazon.com, DBU LLC for a conditional use to allow for warehouse operations in B3 zoning district located on 40 Commerce Court Ave, number 466C, parcel 1 and 2 in the 5th district. Motion?
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Kiefer to approve the second reading. All in favor of this approval, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And it carries. We'll go back to item number 7. Any other comments before I call for motion for executive session in board, business? Okay. Do I have a motion to go into executive session for personnel, property, and litigation?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Roach, second by Mr. Ford. Go into executive session, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And we are so all in favor, unanimous, we're in executive session. Okay. We're in executive session. Thank you guys for your attendance.